Warning. The following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Ow.
Damn.
I say that one.
Mine's a little.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Meet Us in the Man Cave. I am Scott K, and this, of course, is Mr. C. Webb.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the name. I was waiting for it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll pause it and add it in. Anyways, today's episode is one that hits close. Yes, I could always do that over again. And this is Craven Moorehead. Today's episode.
Wow.
It's one that hits close to home to both of us.
You got a middle name in there. That's impressive. Damn.
Okay. Sadly, this episode is supposed to be serious. And we probably will, because we're diving into something real. Men's mental health. It's not one of those headlines or hashtags, but the quiet stuff, the heavy stuff, the things that we've lived through our lives, but we're basically told to keep it all bottled up. For a long time, being a man meant being silent. We were told to man up, push through it, don't cry, don't show any weaknesses. But that silence, I should say, it definitely came with a cost. Today, we're here to break the silence, and not just with facts, but with our own stories. And that is just about, well, not just about the men, but it'll also be about the women in our lives, our partners, our sisters, our moms, and in some cases, our kids, and the roles that they played. Both that are supporting us, sometimes not quite understanding what we're going through, like audio issues. So grab a seat in the man cave, a cold beer, or whatever tasty beverage you prefer to drink. Let's talk, Chris. Let's really talk.
Ooh, this is a loaded question. We kind of danced around this a whole bunch, haven't we? I mean,
sorry.
I've always, seen the importance of it. And we've had a few segments where I feel like we kind of got our point across, but maybe if people can see, I think in vulnerability, there's strength. I think there's nothing stronger that you can do than be vulnerable, to give yourself over to someone and allow them to, have an impact in your life, to be vulnerable to them. So yeah, let's be fucking vulnerable. I'd throw away the stigma that men are supposed to be quiet, bottle it up, all that shit. I don't believe in it. Growing up, it was kind of a known thing that men are never supposed to cry, all this bullshit.
Yeah.
But anybody that knows anything about DMX, that man would go on stage, and he was my hero, if people don't know that by now. But that man would go on stage, he would read his prayers, he would sing his songs, he would captivate the audience, and then almost at the end of every set, that dude would just let it all out. He would cry right on stage in front of thousands of people. Did not care.
This could probably, and we are, obviously we're going to be sticking on the segue of men's mental health. You bringing that up, Chris, is probably a good opportunity to bring up the fact that in a future podcast, if you folks are fans of the band The Cure, We're going to concentrate 99% of that podcast on The Cure. But you mentioned DMX, how emotional he gets on stage, especially towards the end. I would say, Robert Smith shows that with his fans.
I would 100% agree. That man he is just not afraid to be himself on stage. Just all the great performers, they are who they are. They bring it to the stage, and they're unapologetic. They don't care. They let you dive into their world for, a couple hours, which is impressive.
Very impressive because, neither one of us can say we know what it's like to, if DMX was still here with us, we don't know what it's like to be them up on that stage.
I
but
cannot imagine.
This is cool looking. Of course, I've heard it enough, but this is vinyl.
Yes.
Ooh.
What a fucking man. That is such a good album. We're in Germany?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I actually ordered this off. I wanted to support the band itself by not ordering it from Amazon, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I ordered it from their actual website. And the one benefit of it, I don't want to do it now. I mean, I could, but the vinyl itself, you had options with your typical black. They have white. And of course, I had to get red. I am so curious. I got to try this.
Is it like the candy cane, like mixed white and red, or is it straight red?
This, well, ooh, there's two.
There's been I've seen some cool ones where they like sprinkle the topping onto it and then they flatten it down. Looks cool as hell.
Oh, and you can, of course, if you wanted a cassette, you could order the cassette off of that website too.
That'd be cool to have.
I'm trying to keep the plastic on, and of course, when you're opening up a record, when you're not recording, you're not worried about trying to kill some time or whatever. But gotta smell it again.
Yeah, there you go. No, as we preached so many times, it's an experience right now. So please share that experience. It's like a mask unboxing right now. Oh, that is red. That is really red.
Sorry. Oh,
damn. That's like
he's.
I mean, on my screen, I'm not sure how it looks with your eyes right now, but that's like blood red.
With my eyes, it makes me think of the traditional classic Coca-Cola red.
Almost like the hot rod red.
Yeah, that's better well said there. I think I've got Coca-Cola on the brain because I haven't had a Coca-Cola in 3 weeks now.
You got to have a cheat meal here soon, though.
Oh, I cheated last night. I was so tired. Pizza rolls. I put those. I did it the way you're supposed to. Get the oven preheated to 425. Put some garlic, salt, or powder on it, and that way when it's done, it's just it's so much better than throwing it in the microwave. So yeah, I cheated, but I still had my what you would think is for diabetes, the caffeine-free diet tea.
The diabetes.
Yeah. Well, the way I've been looking.
What's that? That older guy when he says it? Diabetes.
Now, there is a proper way of putting this in here, but I'm not really paying attention, which I should. Sorry, Mike.
Were you displaying that bad boy?
Yeah. There we go. This is one thing I like about it is definitely thick.
That's what she said.
I think there's some art in there. So yes, more The Cure albums to come. That's for sure. And another thing I noticed too, Chris, with The Cure, their logo is always different from each album. You ever notice that?
Really? Like the font, Cure, the aesthetics?
Exactly, the font. It always seems different. Maybe
I don't think I paid attention to that.
Could be the mental health in me. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, hey, what do you say we get what the fuck you drinking out of the way before we delve
Excellent.
into some
What the fuck you drinking?
The beer is a Rheingeist. It's their new one. It's called Skip. That is a summer IPA. A little bit of citrus in there, but it's your traditional heavy IPA. And then I got a special one for us. I've been holding on to this one until we get back to like normal podcast episodes, but does this one look familiar to you at all? Maybe not. Maybe not. How about now? Does it look familiar?
Unfortunately, my background's changing and it's be changing again, but I've got a certain car back there on the shelf, which you can't see. It's terrible.
That's right, boys.
It's
That's right, boys. It's the John Wick bottle. Yeah.
God.
This would be the infamous Blanton's Gold.
Wow.
That Mr. John Wick partakes in Continental Hotel. So fitting. Let's give it a crack.
And to think I'm
Look at that
just
little
drinking
fucking
my
horse, though. Gold horse there. Oh man.
There you
Trying to
go.
get her to focus. Ooh.
There you go.
And for all the liquor guys out there, this is a B. They come with this little section where they have a letter placed, and they all spell out Blanton's. Supposedly, if you collect one, that says full on Blanton's will send you a little thing that you can stick all your horses in to display this a fancy thing.
I'll be damned. I didn't. That's really cool.
They're just trying to get you to buy a whole bunch.
And I would imagine, like, I feel like I'm drinking orange Kool-Aid compared to what you're sipping on right now. But hey,
I like how he says, when they're talking about the painkillers, and he's like, I've got that covered.
the way my back's feeling here lately. Congratulations. Now, is this the first time you've sipped on this bad boy?
This one in particular. I've had the regular Blanton's several times.
Okay.
But, yeah, getting the gold, just being, I wanted to see what it was all about, because this is actually the one that John Wick was drinking, so let's find out.
As he's sipping and getting some close
Getting closeness.
vibes with that right now. Yeah. As Mr. Moorehead's craving this right now. We're back on Riverside, by the way. So, Riverside, if you're watching and listening, thank you for making our audio so much easier. What's the story behind that? So, how's that taste?
That is fucking wonderful. A little bit of chocolate notes. Caramel, of course. It's not as oaky as I thought it would be. But man, that's solid. It's no Jack Daniel's single barrel bourbon proof, especially if you're barrel proof, not bourbon proof, barrel proof. But if you can get a store pick of that, that's probably my favorite like bourbon ever. It's so fucking good.
Speaking of bourbon, I'm one of those unusual kind of kids when they get something for their mother on Mother's Day. I don't buy my mom flowers or anything like that. No. I buy my mom bourbon or whatever she's wanting or whatever I kind of hear her talk about in rumors. So I bought her a bottle of Maker's Mark, right? And because it has a Cincinnati's red logo on it, she's like, ooh, that's a collector's item. I'm going to keep that on the shelf. It's just a label, Mom. It's nothing special.
Well, I mean, you gotta respect that. I mean, I keep boxes for random shit I buy. I don't know why. I just do it.
And what Chris was obviously showing you, this is the first time we're skipping right to it. Where's my I don't know if I have any.
Skip to my.
That sounds good enough.
Look at this wax. Even the wax is fancy. It's got little
Ooh.
bees on it.
Good timing, because I did mention Maker's Mark, and but that's like beeswax. All right, Skip. Let's see how you're tasting there.
Is this your first sip on that? Yeah. It's got a little citrus. I like it.
Yeah, it does. It's light too.
Mm-hmm.
Or am I just that thirsty?
Nope, it's only 5%.
I like it. I mean, it is. It's light. I would recommend this to individuals out there that are not heavy IPA drinkers. You're like, if somewhere in between, this is what I would recommend. And especially as we get to those warmer months.
Yeah. You know what
I don't
that
know
is
why
right
a
there?
light beer just seems cooler.
That's a lawnmower beer right there.
Yeah.
I'm going to be out mowing my lawn.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a lawnmower beer.
And it does taste good with all the beers I have taste good with James.
It's not a coincidence, huh?
No, it's not. Well, Chris, we did obviously bring in the mental health. Music always ties into everything, even my old, I hate saying that because it does make him sound and feel old. Todd, almost said his last name, sorry. I got to respect that. That's his privacy. He wants to stick with that. And even he says music ties into everything, just like mental health. The good, the bad, the ugly.
It is the
And you've
glue
said that
of
too
life.
plenty of times.
The glue of life.
Yes. In fact, I think music helps you get through those bad times when you're dealing with stressful mental issues, whatever it may be. I know it did help me out when I was going through some major mental issues before I was a teenager into my early teen years. And if it wasn't for the music, I wouldn't have been able to hide into that world. And I'm so thankful for it. That is for sure. It kept me sane.
Not to interrupt. Now I'm getting cherry.
So you had kind of a chocolate. No. I look, I get it.
Wow.
I mean, for people that enjoy this segment of the man cave, the alcohol spirits, the different types of bourbons and whiskeys and beers and all that, because we do push it quite a bit. That does happen quite a bit. I've noticed that. Like, I think like early when we first started recording, when I tried that Jameson, whatever I forget that it was in a can, that ginger or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your face, you didn't. I don't think you liked that. You were.
Yeah. It tasted better as I got used to a few sips.
You know what? At least it wasn't liquid death. I mean, that's all right. We can deal with Jameson.
Speaking of liquid death.
Don't drink this shit. What?
I'll help you out here.
Any redeeming qualities? Is this going to get me fucked up or anything?
Folks, for you watching out there, you may have stumbled across other, podcasters out there. I mean, like the Osbournes, Steve-O, they've all had Liquid Death sponsoring their, podcasts. And, Chris and I, Meet Us in the Man Cave, we may have our first sponsor, Liquid Death. And it is October and death and, So, yes, it's Liquid Death. It's death in a can. Murder your thirst.
No alcoholic content, right? This is totally just, we're doing this just to...
We're doing this to kiss ass for our new sponsor, right?
It's so good, guys. Look at that can. It's fucking beautiful.
Yes. Oh, yeah, it's going to be our new thing here.
Nothing to talk about there.
Oh, God. God damn. Meet Us in the Man Cave's high quality H2O. Pure wetness.
Drink responsibly. Only available at Bubba.
Did we just lose a sponsor?
All right. We're back. We've had to take a little bit of a liquid break. Chris and I had talked privately. like you stated earlier, the subject matter about basically mental health. Maybe it's because I don't know. Let me ask you, without saying any other names that people that we know personally, because it's not fair to them. Would you say it's maybe some of the things that they are going through that's kind of reminding us of maybe stuff that we've done here on Meet Us in the Man Cave, or just life in general itself? I think probably I just answered that question there for myself.
You know, I see it quite frequently. I see it with several guys that, you know, I have personal relationships with. And that's like the first thing I'll always try to convey to them. Like, there's no like wrong answer you can do right now. Like, I've been to a point in my life where I felt like I was rock bottom. And once you hit rock bottom, you can only rebuild from there. It's like in the army, they tear those guys down so they can build them back up.
Yeah.
If you can hit your rock bottom to the point where you can find out who you are and what you're made of, you know, what is acceptable in life to you and what is just not, then it's so much easier to realize it's easier to get rid of the junk. You know what I mean? Like all the little small things that you're going through life and you're stressing over, when you hit rock bottom, when you hit a point where you're like, wow, that really didn't fucking matter, then you can focus on the big stuff.
Yeah.
And you can start to rebuild from there. I got off track there, but yes, I know a few guys right now. They're definitely going through stuff. I try to let them know that it's a safe space. Not every guy wants to go to, therapists or seek professional help or this, that, and the other. Some of them just need to be in a room with another guy and just know that they're not alone. They're not, they need to confide in another guy. And I think that's totally fine. I think that's more than fine. That's totally acceptable in my book. And at that point, I just want to listen. I think listening is the biggest thing that you can do, just to let them express what they're going through and just sit there and say, I understand. I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been there. I feel it all the time. I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've noticed the older I get, it's when I do hear individuals, I want to say that's in their mid-20s, and when they talk about things that they're going through, I try my best not to say, hey man, I get it, I know, I've been there, done that. That doesn't serve any service to them, if you want to call it that. But like you said, just sit there and listen to them. Because yeah, if I sit there and say, yeah, I've been there, done that, well, that's kind of bullshit, because their path isn't exactly the same as mine. So it's best for me to just shut it for once and just let the person express whatever they're going through.
Yep. I agree.
And don't try to solve their problems. Just listen, just like what Chris was saying, because Lord knows we all know this on the other aspect of individuals that are dealing with mental health, where they're using substance abuse that's making their mental health even worse. Granted, that's a path that I don't even know how to help these people, because sadly, that is such a huge train wreck that is so difficult, that affects so many people on a Richter scale from here to there,
Yep. Yeah. If I could add on to what you're saying there, I can't. I will say I've not been as supportive as I could have been for people that have addictions, because that was
loud.
Damn.
By the way,
I
folks,
got a storm going on.
If this episode is actually cut off, it could be my power that's gone, or Chris is gone, because we got,
we'll pick it back up.
We got some May storms going on.
I know I like my beer. I know I like my my liquor, but I don't feel I don't think I feel a dependency. I feel it's like an enhancer. Like it, if I'm having a good time, you know, I only pretty much drink on the weekends anyways. So, you know, it makes me happy. It doesn't depress me. If it's depressing you, I don't think it's the answer you're looking for because it is a depressant. You know what I mean? I, I,
Oh yeah.
I would not indulge in that if it just makes you more depressed and puts you in a worse mood. I mean, if it like, what is it, cortisol that is the bad stressor hormone? If it raises your cortisol level, that's probably not it, man. Like, yeah, I don't know. There's probably something else out there for you. You should probably get off it. It's not good for you. But for me, I don't understand the whole the addiction part. I've never felt that physical dependence to be addicted to something. I like things, but I don't feel I mean, I'm addicted to video games. I think that's my addiction. um, I don't know. I go through withdrawals if I don't have video games. I mean, I'll tell you that much. But I don't understand as you were saying, that don't talk about things you don't understand. Kind of, you know, don't tell people like I've been there, done that. I can't do that with addiction. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand what they're actually going through, but I'm getting there. I'm trying to understand because I know some people that are having addiction issues right now. So I'm trying to expand my knowledge on that. I think it's more of like the only thing I can correlate it to is that it's like a chemical dependency.
Yeah.
It's like an imbalance in their head or their body. And that's the only thing I got so far that makes sense to me. So I'm trying to be more understanding of that. Um, guys, yeah. I mean, if you know you have an addiction, if you know you have something that you are dependent on, please reach out to someone, get help. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In fact, I should, Chris, find the proper phone number and actually put it on the screen for, you know, I know that you could see it any time if subject matter like this are coming up. Because I could just say description box all day long, and from what I understand, only 2% of the people go to the description box anyways. So
I'm guilty of
having
that.
I believe it or not, I think it's because I've preached it enough through, you know, channels or whatnot. And if say if I'm watching a video, like if you're doing a video on that bottle right there, and you said, hey, I've got links to where I purchased this bottle, hell yeah, I'm going to that link.
Mhm.
You know, especially with affiliates and all that, if you get paid for it, you know, just by clicking on it. But I mean, it's a good, well, we don't need to go there. But sorry, I interrupted. I just, like I said, a phone number across the screen, because I think I could speak for Chris here. We're not professionals. I mean, you can leave comments. I'm pretty sure there's still an email exists if you want to just, you don't even have to put your name down or whatever. If you just feel like you need to talk to somebody or
Again,
whatever.
I'd also like to stress the whole fact of sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger than it is
Mm-hmm.
people you know. Sometimes you need a safety net, a lifeline, someone that you can just talk to and just be yourself with a feeling of kind of anonymity. You know, we I would not have an issue with that. I think about all the movies that impacted me as a kid. I mean, we've talked about it so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Pump Up the Volume, things like that. I mean, essentially, Hard Harry. I mean, he was talking to the void, but you know, when those guys would call in, when that kid had that serious problem where he was just lost and didn't know, you know, who he was. That's, you know, he didn't. Harry didn't have any answers. He just listened. He just wanted to wanted to keep him on the line long enough to where he would reconsider taking his own life.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, sometimes just talking and not being judged is part of it, I think. I'm open to that if anybody ever needs anything like that. I don't I don't want us to use it for something, it doesn't even need to be part of a podcast. I mean, that doesn't need to happen. I mean, if people need something, I mean, that's just, it is what it is. But I would put it out there.
When you mentioned like, okay, I'll use alcohol as an example. We talked about music already. It's quite obvious that I have mentioned in the past and current to present of an individual who I basically grew up idolizing, from 8 years old up to the present when he's no longer with us. But Edward Van Halen was very much known to had issues with alcohol and drugs. And he was a heavy drinker. He started drinking when he was before he was a teenager. And he used alcohol basically because at the beginnings, he was so nervous all the time, especially up on stage and all that. I'm not going to constantly get into that history, but people around him, they had to deal with his mood swings, his ups and downs, his valleys, because of those abusive. I mean, they say he was the sweetest guy in the world at times. I've actually seen videos where he's literally given the shirt off his back and gave it to someone else because they needed a shirt. He has given guitars away like it was candy. They said one of the sweetest guys on this planet, but then he would turn into this evil man because of his alcohol and drug abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it. I mean, I've seen it. I know I've had my guilt in the past when I was younger. Certain things I would probably maybe have drank things I shouldn't have drank, and being around certain people, I just was told later, I don't want to be around you anymore because of the way you were behaving like that. So I know personally from alcohol how it can be. I'm thankful today that it doesn't control my life. Like Chris mentioned, he sees himself as someone on the weekends. Honestly, I would say the majority of the time that I drink is right here on the podcast, or if I go over to Chris's house, which is, I guess, the weekends.
Yeah.
Because I got work to do, and I'm just glad that this doesn't control. I honestly think you can enjoy like what we drink here because it doesn't control me. I mean, dear Lord, Chris, could you imagine if you were a serious alcoholic drinking IPAs? I'd be like, dude, why don't you just go drink some Milwaukee Worst? It's a lot cheaper for you, I guess.
No, I could not. I mean, some of these, they get up to like, I've seen them like $25 for a 4-pack. Like, oh, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
I get addicted to that. And no, sir, I'll kick alcohol real fast.
Yeah. No, I can honestly say I enjoy the flavor first before anything else when it comes to these beverages and all that. Sure, I get the benefits of occasionally sitting right here in one section of the man cave, shooting the shit, and then like, oh yeah, watching the podcast there, like, yeah, I probably had one too many IPAs or probably one too many sips, but oh well. Why am I talking about me right now? I'm actually right now at this point in my life with the mental health, I'm doing good. I'm trying to enjoy things the best that I can. Works hard, but oh well, that happens. Thankfully, my job is saying, okay, we're going to reward you for working your ass off. And I'm thankful for that. It's been a bit of a lately, but oh well, I get the bills paid. I could buy an IPA every once in a while, feed the kid, feed the dog, and
Yeah.
and thankfully buy a brand new computer. Holy shit, man, is the editing faster on this? So, I mean, uploading it to, oh my God.
Nice.
Wow. But, excuse me, Chris, like I go into this and maybe it'll lead into maybe someone else, pretty much, I know I'm about ready to cough. Like I said, I'm not going to say any names.
Mm.
I know of someone who is dealing with, he's dealing with I'm going to call him a kid because to me, I see him as a kid. And this individual, because he's already dealing with mental health issues without drugs, but it's gotten so bad that he's actually taking drugs away from his partner. that are not even prescribed to him, which is making it so much worse. And of course, this makes it very stressful on everybody who knows him. We're talking friends, family. And what I'm trying to get at, and I hate to say this, but I really feel like the court system is pampering him right now. This person that I'm speaking of has been in trouble more than once, obviously, more than twice. So right now, instead of them probably putting him in jail for a while, they just give him probation. And for what he's doing to his, let's just say, spouse, to the kids, to others, I fear what may come later. And the reason why I'm saying this because I'm hoping that if anybody's watching or listening right now, maybe you yourself are going through something like this, which adds on to, if you feel to share your story, please do. I listened to someone that I know personally who's telling me what they're going through, and it's heartbreaking. It is truly heartbreaking to knowing that they're going through this shit. It's almost like they're dealing with someone in their family who's trying to fight cancer, Yeah.
Yes.
It's terrible. It's just absolutely terrible.
It's hard to watch someone in a steady decline when you know they're capable of so much more. If we're talking about men right now, I maybe I'm a bit naive here, but I think we all start out as genuinely for the most part, are decent people. The world kind of turns us into what we become if we become assholes. I've been called an asshole my entire life, but I only let certain people in. I keep everybody else at bay. Like I only got so much that I feel like I can give. So everybody else, I just kind of, I let them see the asshole side because I know I'm full. Like my circle stays pretty small. Like I don't feel the need to go out of my way to become friends with everybody because I've already been blessed with several people in my life that are just they're in my life. They're going to stay in my life, and I'm comfortable with that. Going back to that fact though, I truly believe most people that we're talking about are genuinely good people that you were mentioning Edward, how he would just give the shirt off his back.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, a lot of these guys out here that are, assholes, dickheads, whatever, at one point in their life, they were probably a good dude. They just got screwed over so many times to where they got the hard exterior. They just got tired of being screwed over. I feel like that plays into a lot of it.
Let me ask you this. Do you think possibly some of it, for not everyone, but for some individuals, some of their personality traits is also hereditary?
Like watching their parents,
Yeah.
the atmosphere they grew up in.
Yeah. Because obviously every individual's situation is different, but do you think that could also possibly be as well?
I could totally understand that. It's much easier to be what you know than it is to do a complete 180. I mean, I'd never wanted to become my dad because of what I saw him do. Yeah. It's hard to do the 180 and try to live the exact opposite. I mean, it's much harder. So I believe the fact that, yes, I mean, people just, I'm getting hung up on the word hereditary. I think it's learned behavior. They've seen it their entire life. It's easy. They know, what to expect out of it. They know what the outcome is. So they just kind of fall into that rhythm, I think. Is that kind of in the ballpark?
Yeah, because let's face it, as we are taught, hopefully, we see we as children, we as babies, and of course, when we see, they absorb things. Their brains are like sponge. They say we learn more when we're babies,
Oh
when we're
yeah.
children, when we're obviously learning to crawl, which makes sense. We're discovering the world for the first time. Everything is new. I mean, things that we take for granted, like my hand grabbing this glass and putting it to my mouth, looking into the camera. That's a pro right there, right? A baby, that it would take them all day to do that stuff. So their brain is just like going to town.
Mm.
So when they're watching an abusive parent and then on top of not only the physically seeing what the parent's doing verbally, physically, hell, chances are they're probably seeing that parent drink this 24/7 or doing other substance abuse 24/7. Then maybe they go through the majority of their youth, possibly to like say, I'm gonna just throw dice until they're 15, and then they start carrying those characteristics of what they, if I could just be like mom or dad, and boom, that's what they end up doing, I guess.
Nope.
It's hard to find out if it's a genetic or if it's just like,
No,
well, daddy did it.
I believe exactly what you're saying. I do. It's just, it's easy for them to fall into that trap. I mean, they say we become our parents.
I fear it with some parent. Sorry.
That's what they say. I don't believe it, but that's what they say. And then, if I'm being 100%, completely laying it all out there right now, I catch myself a lot of times. Certain like physical things that my dad would do that I do without thinking about, like physical ticks, almost kind of like ways he used to, chew certain food, the way he would do this, the way he would scratch, the way he would have his beard, the way, his hair, whatever, all that stuff. I do see that, and it freaks me out a lot.
I'm already asked you that if it does.
Mm-hmm. It's a gnawing in like the back of my brain. It's like something you can't scratch. Besides cancer or losing, somebody in my immediate circle, that's like my biggest fear in the world is to become my dad. That's literally is.
And even though, like earlier, I said opening up about certain things, folks, to be fair, I absolutely cannot blame. Chris is giving you a general idea, and I think for a lot of mature viewers or listeners right now, you get it. You don't need to hear everything, because I've had an opportunity to be around Chris and even his mother, hearing more personal details about some of the stuff that Chris and his mom had to go through. And trust me, folks, you don't want to hear it. It's not pretty. It's Chris stating right now him not wanting to be like his dad. If you knew half the shit that I've heard, and see what the man Chris has become, you'd see they're nothing alike. Nothing alike at all. So I guess that's kind of like the pros of seeing what you've witnessed as a child and telling yourself, I don't want to be anything like that. But fearing, like what you said, certain little scratches, twitches, it's all of a sudden like, oh shit, am I becoming him? Even no matter how hard I try, am I becoming that person?
And I've tried to make my peace with that, because, I am his son. It's gonna, lines are gonna bleed, things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
As long as I steer the same course, then I'm okay with it. I don't, that's kind of, I don't know. It's like a neuroses thing with me. Like, obviously the way, he grew his beard, or the way he used to eat certain things. And obviously none of that means anything, but in my, still child head, the little child in the back of my head that I'm always listening to, it does. But to my adult me, I know that's just silly, but it still affects me.
I think it also relates to maybe the things that we from the foolish mistakes that we make as a kid. Like, I know there's some stupid shit I did as a teenager, and every once in a while I'll go back. My brain goes back to that time where I did something stupid, and
Oh
it's like I
man.
relive that day or that moment.
Oh man.
I kind of feel like I'm in trouble again.
God, I
And it's,
live in those moments. Holy shit.
so I'm kind of like, okay, is this how we're supposed to learn from our mistakes? Is every once in a while, I'm like, oh, no, don't do that stupid thing. I mean, I won't from some of the shit I did. But.
All I want is like a time machine so that I can go back and erase those moments, because I literally, whenever I go to do the same thing again, I'm always worried that I'm going to make that same mistake. It's like pulling up to a drive-through window and like they tell you enjoy your sandwich and you say, you too. And you're like, fuck. Why'd I say that?
It makes me think of when I was a teenager working at Bo Townsend Ford, and a guy that I worked with hung out quite a bit the Friday. This is put this way. This is how a Friday night used to be back then. After work, we'd go to some bars, even when we weren't technically old enough, but they knew us. They knew our dads, our moms. And then we'd go to other places, and we were in his van, not down by a river, but we were in his, and we had a lot of Friday nights like that, wearing our Bo Townsend uniforms. And then, of course, we'd park at Bo Townsend's parking lot because we had to work the next day. So we'd get up. We were hungover, bigger and shit, of course, working the next day. So if it's lunchtime, we'd go to Wendy's for, I remember that for some reason. His name was Scott. So there's two Scotts, right? So we'd go to the drive-thru and he would pay, or no, he'd take the order. And then, because usually it was like two windows like they are now. And then he would give her the money and then he would just take off. I'm like, dude, he did it again. He's like, oh, fuck. So you said that brought me back to him.
Oh, man. It's so true,
Scott.
though.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like the self-analytical or the neurotic side, or I don't know what it is, but God, I do that a lot.
Okay. Here's something really stupid I did, folks. I'm going to be completely transparent. And maybe you could relate to if you had learned from this. Okay, here we go. I'm a teenager working at another dealership, and I wanted to impress a girl. Now, the dealership that I worked at does no longer exist. This is not Bo Townsend. It's another dealership. No, fuck it. Salem on Lincoln Mercury. And I borrowed a pickup truck, put a dealer tag on it, and I was going to take it over to her house to impress her. Well, thankfully, my parents caught me driving it when I wasn't working, and my ass got in huge trouble. I mean, they could have called the cops on me. They could have done everything, the dealership and all that.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I went, my mom, they took me into the owner's office. I'm trying to remember his name. Sat down, and they more or less discussed what they were going to do. They said they weren't going to call the cops on me. They weren't going to fire me, but I had to wash all the cars for 2 months on that lot without pay on a Saturday.
Oh, man.
So I still have those flashbacks in my head from that day of doing something so stupid. Yes, I got lucky. I got very lucky that I didn't get into a car wreck. That they didn't call the cops on me, that I didn't get thrown in jail. I had the living shit scared out of me so much that here I am 50 some years later. I'll leave it at that. And I still have those flashbacks to when I was like 17 years old of that stupid time to impress a girl. What's that got to do with mental health? Having the shit scared out of you enough to where you hope you'd never do something stupid like that again, I guess.
I've heard the term empath. I've heard that empathetic people to be an empath. I've heard that a lot. I've heard I've been classified as that quite a bit. It's kind of like where you spend a lot of time internalizing everything, and you analyze everything that's going on, and you also put yourself in other people's shoes more than yourself. You're always thinking about what that other person's going to think. And man, I feel like that weighs down on. I know it weighs down on me a lot. I mean, I don't know what that has to do with anything, or just I don't know. Your story right there just kind of brought that out of me. I don't know.
Chris, did you ever have a field trip to, like, say, what do they call them again for kids that are minors, like a detention juvenile hall, like a jail, basically?
No.
Did you? I had that opportunity. I'll tell you what, that scared the shit out of me too. It was this field trip where we went to a juvenile, like, whatever. I'm glad I guess I'm proud that I don't know the proper name for it.
Like a detention center or something?
Yeah, it was just a juvenile jail place or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was a field trip, and at one point, each of us got to sit in one of those jail cells, by yourself for whatever, how long it was. It wasn't super long. And of course, they would basically try to paint a picture to tell you, now imagine your life. This is what you have to do every day. This is what time you have to get up. This is when your meals are, just a day in the life of being in jail as a minor. That scared the shit out of me. Mm-mm. And I'm thankful for that field trip. I really am. I really, really am. Even though, doing stupid shit like, stealing a truck off a pickup. But I wasn't stealing it. I was just borrowing it. That was my excuse at the time.
I watched a bunch of Scared Straight.
That's
That's about my only experience with that. I've never, other than work, because we've worked on, when I did lightning protection, we worked on a lot of prisons, but that's literally as close as I've been to a prison.
Trying to think of that. Is it in London, Ohio, or whatever? I'm trying to think of where I've talked about it. This woman and on the other couple times in the bar downstairs where I decided what the hell I'm going to talk about this because I went to school with her. She basically killed her own little girl, or I'm sorry, YouTube, unalived her little girl when Zach was born. Jolynn Ritchie, but I went to school with her, was Jolynn Washaball, and she is currently at a prison. It's like between here and Columbus. I've driven by it, and when I've driven, I'm like, haha, hope you rotten,
Yeah.
Because her parole hearing she'll be 60 for her next one. So will be, well, she's exactly the same age as me. So I'm not going to do the math out there for anyone because I don't like to admit the math at this point. I bet your bladder is about to explode. Well, Chris and Scott, they'd like to help you out. How's that, you say? By simply subscribe, liking, and sharing to Meet Us in the Man Cave, where we can finally achieve those YouTube ads, and you can finally go take a piss.
What I'm hoping to get to here is that people get the fact that we are open, we're not perfect, and we're trying to not be judgmental purposefully so that you guys can see.
Whoa, sorry, heard some major thunder out there.
It hit me, now it's hitting you. Yeah, what was I saying? No, just the whole fact of authenticity, I guess. Trying to show you that we're authentic about that. You guys don't need to. You guys can trust us with your, anything you may need to talk about. That's all I was trying to say, I guess. But that wasn't a very good way of saying it. Nobody's perfect,
So I was trying to make sure I put it on mute because I know some of these ice cubes can be annoying.
We're not going to claim to be perfect. We don't expect you guys to be perfect.
Yeah, I'm definitely far from that. Okay, here's something. We talked about alcohol. We talked about alcohol. Sorry. We talked about the D word. I'm sure you can say drugs on YouTube. I know there's obviously people out there. I'm sure even in today's, what is this, 2025? I'm sure there's young women, young men out there, young teen. Well, that you're struggling with who you are. If you still have a hard time maybe find someone to talk to. Believe it or not, I know Chris and I pretty much put out the personas. We're guys, we're men. Yes, we are.
We didn't have a choice.
We were born this way. Okay, accept it. Okay, if we can accept ourselves for what we are, then my point is we will accept you for who you are. Just don't be stupid and steal trucks off of parking lots. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just basically saying you're welcome to talk if you need to or whatever. We're not going to solve your problems, but if you need someone to listen to, you know what to do.
We're all fallible humans.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a topic for you. Are you good? Are you about to go into something?
Getting some more.
This is kind of a heavy topic, but I've kind of. Oh, he took his headphones off. I was talking to him. I'll wait.
3 days later.
Now, to be fair, I normally, while I'm editing and all that, I hear exactly what Chris was talking about as I walked away.
I wasn't talking about anything.
Okay.
I was about to ask you something.
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to approach this topic that I've kind of had in my head several times. How do you weigh I guess I'm getting kind of personal here. How do you weigh your successes and your failures in life?
Honestly, that's something that I don't think about too much, probably because I find myself not finishing what I started. I know that kind of sounds like, did I answer your question? Because I kind of feel like my successes, I haven't finished what I started to say, hey, I feel great about this achievement as a success. Now, as a father, mm-hmm. I feel good about that. But at the same time, I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But I know that I have a conscience. Even though I've said it here before, if 2% of you are watching this right now, I'm sure you've heard me mention that my son is autistic. And I get questions to this day. What's it like? Was that difficult? I mean, my answer is going to be different from another parent that has a child that's autistic. I could tell you that right now. But I still feel like as a team, as a family that's helped raising my son, that's definitely been the one thing I've been more proud of because he's happy. He's very happy.
Good.
And so I feel like I've had one little percentage of helping that out. Hell, he's doing good.
And I appreciate that. Go ahead. I appreciate you taking it to a personal. I should have been more specific. I was meaning like if you had a project tomorrow, how do you weigh a success versus a failure? Like, how do you do it in general in your life? What determines the fact where you have done something and you see it, that was successful? I'm successful because I accomplished that.
I find myself that I'm stubborn when it comes to a lot of things that I'm learning in life, and I fail a lot when I'm trying to learn to do these things that I'm trying to learn. For an example, no, I'm still struggling with it. I want to say setting and tuning a guitar, but I feel more confident with what I'm doing now, but I'm still struggling with it. But every time, editing, for an example, I really taught myself how to do editing from day one, mainly because it was a passion. But I've learned so much from the errors and the mistakes that I have made, the stress that I've added onto the computer, learning more about the computer, why the memory, the processor, all this other stuff. I've learned more about that because of editing and the mistakes that I've made with editing, and I've taken it. It's almost like, that scenario, putting a round peg into a square hole.
Mm-hmm.
I did that a lot with editing, but I've learned so much from that. And do I know everything about it? Hell no. But I feel pretty good about those successes. But it seems like, Chris, anytime that I have any success on anything that I do, I take it about the long way. Maybe it's not the best for everyone, and I'm not always proud of that, but I feel like because I have to take the long route to learn how to, I don't know, let's say I'm really good at making coffee mugs with pencils in it. If it took me 10 years to do it, sure as shit, I'm not surprised, because it's like it takes me long, and I find that successful because I know everything about it because it took me so long to learn how to do it. Okay, here's something that we need to bring up into this, and maybe I'll try to put it in the beginning as talking about editing. We have some certain masks that we need to talk about here really, really soon, if not now.
Yes.
But when it comes to the rehauls, the overhauls, that right there, oh my God. I'm telling you what, folks, the only way you're ever going to get really good at doing those, you're going to have to learn from the mistakes that you've made. You could watch tons of tutorial videos on YouTube from some of the great artists out there. I guarantee you it's not going to look as good as what you're seeing from their Instagram, their Facebook, their YouTube. And maybe eventually you'll feel good about what you did. But that's something else I guess I can relate to what you ask is it takes me a while to feel good about my accomplishments because I have to go about the long way to it. Just like answering these questions takes me forever to get to my final point.
That's fine. That is your answer. There's no wrong answer there. I only bring this up because I feel like a lot of our, you ever have a person just walk up to you and ask you, are you happy? Not, how's the wife? How's the kids? Are you married? Are you single? All of your titles. Did they ever just walk up and just say, hey man, you happy?
It's, the only time I think I would ever have heard that question asked if it was from a female, a woman. Let's say, yes, the nurturers. It could be someone that you maybe dated in the past, and maybe there's a reconnection there, and there's very good possibility if that question was going to be asked, it'd be from her. Are you happy now?
I only bring that up because it's always in the back of my head that is kind of how we correlate all of our either happiness or depression is kind of based upon whether we succeed or we fail. And who made those rules? Who made the rules of succeeding or failing? You need to fail so many times to be successful, like you brought up, like you already said. It's learning from experience. It's, if you don't make it the first time around, persistence and perspective, I think, is two of the most important things in life. Looking at your own life and having the perspective to see where you want to go and how to get there, but also realizing that it's going to be your persistence that will get you there. You're not going to hit a home run the first time you go up to bat. You need to swing a few times. Like, there's no point where you should ever hit. Well, I won't say that because that's just like pointing a finger. But I don't think there's a point that we should hit to where we get so consumed by our defeat that we just see it as a failure.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good analogy. Really good.
I just don't. I think it's so important. I mean, some guys out there, like, look at raising a child. Look what you were talking about. You know how many years you have of doing that? Like, it'll be going until you die. I mean, your children never stop being your babies.
You're right about. I mean, it's not weird to hear like Zach's grandmother every once in a blue moon, I'll hear her talk about her kids and her. Oh, this is going to sound bad because I know she enjoys watching or listening to our podcast, but Zach's mother, her, I'm trying to be very kind about this. In other words, her mother still looks at her, these 4 adults as her kids, her, her children. I haven't heard say, but I'm pretty sure in her heart, she says, they're still my babies and all that. But yeah, you're right. Zach is.
There's never going to be
Zach's
a point where I'm never going to stop looking out for my kids. It's just, that's not what we do, So
I don't see
can't
Zach
even
being 30 years old. He's a kid to me. So yeah,
I can't even consider that a success yet because it's not over. It's not done. It'll never be done.
I've had 2 questions that relate to very much our subject, so I'm gonna make sure I bring this up now.
Okay.
Our mental health. I brought it up in the beginning. The women in our lives on, say, for an example, I know I'm pushing you in the corner because you have more women in your life, with your wife, your mom, your daughters.
That is what I know.
Go far away. We will go from there. You go. Just how you ever want to address this, because that's a lot of going on right there. How would you say that? In other words, does she still have a hard time at understanding you from time to time? If you could maybe describe that without sounding too personal, because I don't want to bring every personal issue up here. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but when I used to work for Maxwell, which that's not really like a female thing. I mean, that's just a human thing. It's hard to get what someone's going through when they're, states away. I've talked about like military guys, like they went through more than, I would leave for a week. Those guys leave for like months, years at a time. Like I know there's a clear distinction there. Those guys have it probably, even worse. I can't even imagine. I can't even fathom it. I respect what all the military, all those guys do. I mean, they're probably more of a man than I am. I don't know, but I mean,
there's a mental health issue there alone.
I'm kind of rambling off on that, but what I was trying to get to is that it's hard for her to fully comprehend like what I was going through at the time. All the work I was doing it solo. I was going back to hotel rooms. I was, the fucking walls close in pretty fast when you're in a hotel room. I mean, I was eating unhealthy. Like, I was in a bad place for about 10 solid years of my life right there. It was very lonely. I got very withdrawn. Like, I would come straight home and I would just, I would play more video games. I didn't feel attached to the kids. I wasn't, as active as I wanted to be. And I tried to be more active, but I felt very detached from, sports, things like that. I was trying to do coaching at that time. I felt like, physically, I felt like I could do it, but mentally, I was just somewhere else. Mentally, I was already checked out. I was back in West Virginia thinking about what I had to do and get done next week rather than being there with my kids.
Yeah.
It's very defeating. It's very hard to compartmentalize all that in your head. So I was going through a lot of personal battles that I didn't want to burden her with. And for that fact, I don't think she's ever really like understood how many nights I sat there and like questioned a lot of things.
Wow.
Like just sitting in a hotel room alone. It's very bad. I don't wish it upon anybody. But if I'm talking about like the female aspect, I've seen females my entire life. That's all I've known pretty much is females. And women are some of the strongest creatures that I think they're stronger than men in a lot of aspects. I mean, they will do whatever they have to do to get it done. I mean, that's the only thing I've ever known is women, strong women. I know plenty of weak men, but I know a lot of strong women too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I could. By the way, that's from what you were just describing, the day in the life that was for many years what you had to go through living in a hotel. I mean, that's definitely some deep mental health. Sharing some stories there and all that, and maybe some folks out there you've experienced that and understand what that's like too. And hell, once again, hey, I can relate to what you're saying there, Chris. I didn't know. I thought I was alone. Comment section, emails, Instagram.
It's like you going to work for all this money. And yeah, we made great money. But you're paying for something that you don't even see.
Chris used to buy me Coca-Colas all the time like it was nothing. Sorry.
But I mean, you would pay for this home. You would pay for this life. You would do all these things. You would come home on the weekend. You get to see it for 2 days, long enough to cut the grass, and maybe have a cookout or two. And then you would leave again. It's like paying for a home and a life that you don't see.
Which I want to make this very clear. And I'm going to share it on the screen. I'll have to find it because it's actually over at my other channel, the bar downstairs. I've been trying to have some fun over there. Somebody left a comment. Oh, damn it. Better cough. Cut that out. Somebody left a comment, and I'm paraphrasing what the person said. More or less wanted to know, what happened to me in the man cave, something like that. Like I said, I'll show on the screen. This is a very good reason, not making excuses, because I stated it. I left a comment myself, but this adds more flavor to the answer to what you were asking. You listen to what Chris was saying, what he had to go through for so many years, not being at home, not having any life with his wife, pretty much with his kids. Now he's living the opposite. He's working. In other words, let's just say this, and I'm really describing in a nutshell, 9 to 5, which isn't true, but he's coming home every night and he gets to enjoy his home that him and his wife purchased. He gets to spend time with his daughters and experience everything that's going on at home right now, which is quite a bit. So trust me, folks, we talk about these podcasts enough. We enjoy it, but we made a rule. Family comes first. Chris actually gets to enjoy that rule for once.
There is that. There is that.
So that's why we don't do that as much.
And I really enjoy that fact. But if I'm being honest, people, Monster Hunter's been killing me.
I was going to say, well, it's the chickens.
The chickens, yeah, we're getting that figured out. But yeah, it's a lot of my weekends.
And the raccoons.
A lot of my weekends have gone straight into Monster Hunter, and that's partially on me. I mean, not partially. That's 100% on me. But no, I just, it's something that I loved and I fully embellished in. I've got every achievement in that game. I'm happy as can be for now. But no, I want to get back to this. I want to have more topics. I want to be more involved. But that's totally my fault.
Don't. I mean, I get what you're saying, but don't say that's your fault. You're living life right now.
I know, but I can take it.
That relates to what we're talking about here, mental health.
I can take a 3-hour break. I was literally on it all day until we started this.
Well, I was over at Chris's recently, 2 weeks ago, as a matter of fact, and we were talking about a lot. Okay, we were talking, and I'm visualizing, and I'm like, you know what? I'm pretending like I'm you, the listener, the watcher. Right now. Okay, I get it. I can understand, and this will lead into another thing with mental health. People change. We evolve. They say every 7 years your taste bud change. And I know for some of you out there that if you're watching and listening right now, you'll be like, no, tell me this is not true.